Kyle Whittingham has done nothing but lie when it comes to injuries, yet he's never punished. But I do think he's lying about a certain injury before the Colorado game again.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button so we can continue to have some fun talking all things Buffs. And this week, we're going to be talking about Kyle Whittingham's lies. He is notorious for not following through with injury reports, and I think he could be lying to Deion Sanders and the Buffs again. We're going to talk about Colorado's updated injury list because some people are doing it correctly, I think. And then I'm going to give my prediction for the Week 9 clash between the Buffs and the Utes. But first, let's dive in to the quarterback lies. Now, I firmly believe that Kyle Whittingham has something up his sleeve, whether he wants a built-in excuse, whether he thinks he's above the law, whether he's just doing it just because. Kyle Whittingham has never taken injury reports seriously, and I think it's a terrible look. Let me explain why. And if you don't agree, there's multiple instances. This year, Devon Dampier, I have the Big 12 availability reports for Dampier all year. He's only been on the injury report once. This week, he's been listed as questionable on the initial report and the second report. Has not been featured any other time. That being said, after Utah loses to Texas Tech, Kyle Whittingham goes, well, Dampier struggled a little bit. He was a little bit banged up. It's like, okay, you knew this and you didn't say anything? Interesting. Big 12 didn't do anything about it. Sure. Goes into the BYU game, and presumably it's only a few weeks later. Presumably he's still banged up, right? Has the fattest ankle brace I've ever seen on his foot. No mention. It's fine, right? There's Utah beat reporters out there. You can go look up Kyle Whittingham injury report on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And there's people who cover the program every day. They go, well, there's only 4 people listed, but who knows with Kyle Whittingham, right? That has been his whole shtick, and it's really old. I don't care that he's one of the best coaches to ever walk through the West Coast area, the Pac-12 area, if you will. I don't care about his history. I don't care about his resume. Why doesn't he follow the rules? I think it's BS. I think it's not even gamesmanship. Gamesmanship would be like, okay, Devon Dampier is banged up, like admitting it, but not using it as an excuse, right? It's been a built-in excuse for him for both of their losses. It's like, oh, well, Dampier was hurt, so we lost that game, but our quarterback was hurt. It's like, okay, why is it an excuse after the fact? Because if you win the game, do you say anything about it? Nope, don't think so. And then if you want to say, oh, this is just a one-time thing, it's not a one-off. He's done this before, right? We go back to I think it was 2023, Brant Keithy, the tight end, and Cam Rising, which obviously we all know about how Cam Rising's career ended. Cam Rising and Brant Keithy, they both had injuries to their knees in 2023 from the previous year. He didn't say anything about either of them. And then he kind of played this game of like, well, we got to wait and see. You know, he could be back next week. It's a week-to-week thing, pretending it'll happen eventually, right? They might come back. And then October 21st, which granted, let me look at the calendar right now. It's October 24th. So he waited roughly until week 8 or 9 to say that both guys were out for the year. What the hell is that? Then last year, Cam Rising, again, injured. His career pretty much over, right? He injures his hand against Baylor. I think it was in their first or second game, misses the next 3 games, comes back against Arizona State, suffers, I believe it was a leg injury, knee injury. They said he was out indefinitely. It's a lower leg injury. They said they're like, oh, we'll look into it. And then all of a sudden they go on the road, or this was actually 2023, I believe, when they said it after a win over against USC. Yeah, that was 2023. Mixed up my years. He does it so much, but we'll go back to 2023 because it was such a random time. But his team had just gone on the road, upset USC, and that's when he goes, oh, by the way, Cam Rising's out. Last year, they waited until the very end and basically were like, Whittingham would never say whether he was out or not. So it's disingenuous. I think it does a disservice to the game. I think obviously this shouldn't be a main factor of frustration, but for those who have dinero on the line, I'm sure they don't love this, right? But if you're Colorado, you prepare for both. You prepare for Byrd Ficklin to make his first career start. You prepare for a wounded Devon Dampier. And if you're Colorado, you're probably fine with either, honestly, because Dampier's hurt. So you know that he wants to run, but who knows if he'll be able to. That's obviously a huge part of his game, but he wants to move in and around the pocket. But if he can't, you got to keep him in the pocket, make his life difficult. Be like, okay, beat us solely with your arm, right? Read the defense, make the throw, and then beat us that way, right? We don't think you could do it, and I don't know if Devon Dampier thinks he could do it either. If you look at his pressure or his passing direction based off of how he performs when he's kept clean, under pressure, not blitz, kept clean. I mean, most quarterbacks are really good. 75% of his passes completed, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, thrown for 1,100 yards. Under pressure, 44.4% of his passes, he's thrown 3 picks. And then when he's blitzed, under pressure, he's only completed 44.4% of his passes, thrown 3 picks. Blitzing him is difficult. That being said, we'll see how it changes on a week-to-week basis. We'll look at it by game to game. Excuse me. I don't know why that was so hard to get out. Byrd Ficklin has only thrown 9 passes, by the way. You prepare for him as if you're preparing for a poor man's Dampier, in the sense of like, he doesn't have the experience. They're probably not going to open up the playbook for him, right? Utah, they hired Jason Beck, which was a very good hire in my opinion, but they hired him to sort of spice up the offense after years of sort of just vanilla stuff. And let's just say, I don't think they're going to be like, okay, true freshman making your first career start, here's the full 1,000-page playbook. Let's do it. Against BYU, Dampier was a shell of himself under pressure, kept clean, whatever. Like I said before, when kept clean, he was way up there. This past week against BYU, 62.5%. Kept clean. Under pressure, 38.5. When blitzed, 57.9. He only completed, let me double check this. He was 2 of 6 for passes, 20 yards plus, 4 completions on passes 10 to 19 yards. And then on passes 0 to 9 yards, he was 12 of 13, right? He had no ability to stretch the field. He really didn't have his best, I guess, target area was between the numbers 0 to 9 yards. He was 6 of 6. So he's literally wants to get the ball out quickly. He wants to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers. He does not want to hold on to the ball because that requires him to possibly take hits and possibly have to run around. And that's not something he's clearly comfortable doing. So if you're Colorado, you want to get him under pressure. You want to keep him in the pocket, of course. You don't want to let him run around, but you want to pressure the living hell out of him. And if it's Byrd Ficklin, same thing, right? Make him uncomfortable. This is his first career start. Welcome to college football, buddy. See how you do, right? See how you do against Arden Walker. See how you do against fellow freshmen London Merritt and Alexander McPherson, who have been playing all year, right? I think Kyle Whittingham is doing this to save face a little bit, but I also think he's doing this to hopefully alter Colorado's game plan, where they're like, oh, well, you don't know what to prepare for. It's like, guess what? I think Devon Dampier is banged up. I don't expect his legs to be that much of a factor. And I don't think Byrd Ficklin is ready to take on the whole entire offense by himself. So that's my take on the matter. Comment below. Is Kyle Whittingham lying? Is he a liar? Or is pants on fire? Let me know what you think. When we come back, we're going to talk about Colorado's injury list. They updated it. I don't know. I feel like they're being a little bit more truthful. I will say that these are the 2 most secretive coaches in the Big 12 when it comes to injuries. So that's something to look out for. But first, let's take a quick break before we dive into Colorado's. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Mazda. Let's talk Mazda. This episode is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. These are the moments that do more than put the points on the board. They move crowd, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward, I got to go with Joseph Williams. Obviously, Colorado to bye, so not a lot of people were able to move the week forward, if you will. But Joseph Williams, I'm still thinking about the performance against Iowa State. 8 catches, 123 yards, a tud. Huge day for him, and he's only getting started. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For the Colorado Buffaloes, I'm going to go with Kaden Salter this time. Right? He delivered in a big way, had a rough past couple games before the Iowa State upset. But then all of a sudden, he's decisive. He's using his legs at the smart time, throwing 2 touchdowns, one of which was a deep bomb to Amarion Miller. So when the pressure was on, Kaden Salter came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance is an indication that he could be hitting a little stride here. And just like Kaden Salter delivered for the Buffs, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stacking up all season. And you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Or this Saturday, keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. You don't want to miss out on any of our fun coverage. Let's talk injuries. Like I said, Kyle Whittingham lies about his a lot. I'm not going to say Deion Sanders lies, but I also think Colorado likes to keep theirs very close to the vest as well. Not as bad as Kyle Whittingham, but they are definitely a little deceitful with theirs. That being said, Colorado has been very, I think, true this season once they changed the rule. So it's pretty much just Kyle Whittingham who's not doing it faithfully, if you will. So the updated, there was like 17 people on the out list the first time around. Now there's 4. You have Hakeem Williams, the wide receiver. You have Simeon Price, the running back. Yaya Tia, the offensive lineman. Aki OG, the other offensive lineman. Doubtful, RJ Johnson, corner. He's been out for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Makari Vickers, corner. Offensive lineman, Mana Tamini. Haven't heard much about him this year, actually. And then questionable, Nikhil Webb-Walker. Probable, Tion Parks, Carter Stoutmeyer, Braden Keith, Reggie Hughes, Amari McNeil, Brandon Davis-Swain, and Quinn Barnes, Tafik Thomas. So getting a lot of depth back in the defensive lineman. When you compare that to what it looked like the first time, there was names like Terrence Love, DeKalen Taylor, Kyle Carpenter, Savell Smalls, Tyler Brown, Cooper Lovely, a lot of names on there. So my biggest takeaways, for one, DeKalen Taylor is no longer listed as out. Now, you got to take all of these with a grain of salt. Some of these guys, and I know a lot of people are poking fun on social media because they're like, oh, he's going to play. He's not. Some of these guys are going to redshirt. Some of these guys are going to transfer. I don't know which one's which yet. I'm still working on finding that out. I don't know if we're going to see DeKalen Taylor again, right? I think the last I heard, he was kind of on a scooter with a boot on, so, or at least a lower leg injury. So we'll see how that goes. And that was recent. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, he was spotted around town on a scooter. We'll see. Jack Costero is another name who is no longer listed as out. Hasn't played all year. He's been injured. I thought I was told he was out for the long run. We'll see. Samuel Okunlola is someone who I was told is probably no longer going to be with the program next year, which is disappointing because he showed flashes. 5 sacks his freshman year at Pitt, 3 sacks last year. And I thought he would sort of blossom into like an all Big 12 guy, but kind of forgotten about. You have Arden Walker and the 2 freshmen. It's like, oh, who's Sam? No, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's probably a little snide there, but he just sort of fell out of rotation, right? He played in 1 game against Georgia Tech, and we haven't really seen him since. So I don't know about him. And then Makari Vickers listed as doubtful. Makari Vickers was someone who was coming along. I was liking certain snaps from him. I was liking certain looks, but he was also getting abused, right? I think certain teams were kind of keying in on him and pressing Hodge and going after them. And he got beat really bad against Houston. TCU picked on him a couple times, but he had some bright moments, right? And so tough. This secondary is not that good. Let's just call it what it is. I think, which we all learned with the Shedeur Sanders stuff, how trustworthy these preseason or pre-draft rankings are. We don't know. Right? No one ever knows. No one truly knows. But I thought this group would be better. I said they had potential to be the best in the Big 12, and instead I think they're probably more toward the bottom. Right? I thought Preston Hodge was a surefire first, second round pick. Was looking 3rd to 5th round now. We'll see if that changes anymore. But it's one of those things where if you're Colorado, you have these injuries, you'd like players to come back. We also talked about the suspensions. You don't want any suspensions to really impact you. That being said, Coach Prime did say, like, hey, a couple guys were late, and we don't tolerate that. So Colorado's going to be without some people this week. We don't know the entirety of who's going to be missing, who's not going to be missing. But, I mean, this is a very winnable game for Colorado. Let me put it this way. Very winnable game. For the guys that were late, selfish. I don't care what happened. If you're late to the point where coach is suspending you for the game, you obviously did not put yourself in a position to succeed. You obviously did not care about your team. So that part sucks because it's like, okay, we needed you, but you didn't come through for us. Tough. The injuries. I mean, Colorado's been banged up all year. I talked about this yesterday. Is it the turf fields? I don't know. I think there's a lot of players who hate turf, and Colorado practices on turf. They play on turf. They do some practice on grass, but they're indoor facilities on turf. So it's tough, right? You don't want to just blame stuff on whatever, just willy-nilly, but they've been aggressively banged up this year. So I think it's next man up mentality. I think this is the game. I think they could put the Utah and the Big 12 on notice this week, and I think they upset Utah. I'm going to talk about that, but let's take a quick break. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers, you bet just $5, you'll get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel. It gives me so many ways to play. I built parlays, tried player props, and I've even followed the live lines during the game. So if I feel momentum swing, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going to put a little moolah on the underdog. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. I don't want you guys missing out. I'm going to go live right after the game as I normally do. We got a lot of fun coverage coming up. Jordan Dominic, former Buff, is always on the show with us. Some fun guests. We always get to talk with people from the other side, the enemy line, behind enemy lines, if you will. Let's talk about this game. So right now, as I'm recording, Colorado is a 12.5-point dog. Now, Utah opened as 15.5-point dogs, so the line is moving. I fully expect it's either going to stay the same or move more tomorrow, which is, not profound, but the more people find out about Dampier's injury, the more the line's going to be impacted. I think Utah without Dampier, we're going to see a full probably 10-point swing. Honestly, I think it'll go from Utah 12.5 to Colorado, or to Utah maybe 2.5. That's simply home field advantage, right? Rice Eccles is a very tough place to play. I'm not going to dance around that by any means, but I think Colorado could win this game. Right, 59 degrees and cloudy, night game. They're both in the same time zone, so it doesn't really matter. It's 8:15 local time for them, for those playing. Caden Salter probably has his best game of the year a couple weeks ago against Iowa State. 255 yards, 64 completion percentage, and 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 57 yards. I liked what I saw from him. I liked what I've been seeing from Dallin Hayden. I think this Colorado team has found something. I think this Colorado team can limit running backs. They didn't show it well against Iowa State, but LJ Martin is the best running back in the Big 12 by far, and Colorado neutralized him. Now, they were cooked by Bear Bachmeier, but I don't know if Utah, with a banged-up Dampier, is going to torch Colorado's offense on the ground that much. Now, I think Dallin Hayden, 12 for 58 a couple weeks ago, he's finding it. Michael Welch is hit or miss. Cam McHale got 3 carries. I think they're going to use him a little bit more, at least on offense, hopefully on defense. I would like to see some changes made in the secondary, but I think Colorado can win this game. Now, I have 2 different score predictions, and it's solely based on who's playing at quarterback for Utah. If Dampier plays, I think Colorado wins. I think it'll be a close one. I'm expecting a 25-21 kind of game in favor of the Buffs. if Ficklin is playing, if Ficklin starts or Dampier is limited, I'm going 28-17 in favor of the Buffs. I don't think Colorado's going to get beat by a true freshman quarterback. To be quite honest, Colorado has one of the toughest schedules in college football this year, right? All the quarterbacks they've played that they've struggled with outside of Bear Bachmeier, veterans. Haynes King, Georgia Tech's a playoff contender, the front runners in the ACC right now. He's a senior, like fifth-year senior, sixth-year senior. I think he's a sixth-year, actually. Houston, Connor Whittinghamn, he's experienced. BYU, the exception. Bear Bachmeier, I think in a couple of years, we'll be talking about as a potential first-round pick. Hard runner, doesn't make mistakes. He's good. I don't know what to say about it. Josh Hoover, experienced. Rocco Becht, Colorado beat them, but experienced, right? Colorado has not faced an inexperienced quarterback all season long outside of Bear Bachmeier, and he's wise beyond his years. He also had multiple starts under his belt when they played him, right? When he got to beat up on Stanford, got to beat up on Portland State. Byrd Ficklin has played garbage time. He's been a red zone kind of guy for the Utes. He hasn't been used as a passer. He has not been used as a full-time quarterback. So I really think Colorado could pull off the upset. I think they get to 4-4 here. I just feel like they found something, and they've had the past couple weeks to harness it. I hope that starting 7-0, whatever that meant against practice, I don't love that, but I hope they learned from Coach Prime's tough lessons. I hope they learned from Chidozi's speeches and all that. So I think the Buffs win. Do me a favor, comment below. Who do you think wins this game, right? Colorado needs a win here. You're 4-4, and to make a bowl game, you just got to win two out of your last 4. You lose, and now you got to win 4 out of the last 5. It gets a little difficult that way, right? You go from having to win. You lose this game, you're sitting at 3-5. Let me just redo that because I think I mathed wrong. I hate math. You're sitting at 3-5, and you have to win 3 out of your next 4. You win this game, you got to win 2 out of the next 4. And that makes it a lot easier because you have Arizona and West Virginia after this. And then Arizona State and Kansas State, I think, are a little bit more difficult. So make your life easier, control your destiny. Perfect scenario, you win out, and maybe by some weird tiebreaker, you're in the Big 12 title. But before you can even think of if this happens and my dog pees at 3:00 and I get the mail at noon, worry about what you can control. And I think Colorado has some controllables that they can control. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. This has been Locked on Buffs.